Every day I get in the queue. Oh.
Too much magic bus.
Get on the bus, it takes me to you. I'm so nervous I could just sit and smile. Your house is only another mile. So yeah, I heard a nice well, I don't know if it's a compliment. It could be just an insult of Roger Daltrey. John from Jennison said, "You sing Roger Daltrey better than Roger Daltrey sings Roger Daltrey." And I'm like, well, I don't think I do. I think I think you got bad taste if that's the case. Let's see. Catching up on Patreon. You do Roger Daltrey way better than Roger Daltrey can do it now. Yeah, I think that's an insult to Roger because I know I can't do it. All right. Oh, man, we got some fun things planned for you. All right. On your mark. Oh, I'm not ready. On your mark. Get set and go.
Too much magic bus.
And now, here's a guy who has never won a congeniality award at any radio station anywhere. I will fight you in the streets. It's the Eric Zane Show podcast with your host, Eric Zane.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast Patreon bonus. It is a daily show covering news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. That's right. Behind that big, beautiful paywall, thank you so much for being here on Patreon. To the usual suspects that are joining it live, and if you listen to it at your leisure on the pre-recorded Patreon podcast. Yeah, that's right. As we're getting into the podcast, it's always a classic scenario where I'm sitting here singing old songs by like The Who. We don't get food again. And then I'm talking about Roger Daltrey singing those great lines. And then I look to my right and I see the comment, yeah, man, who the fuck is Roger Daltrey? How is it? How do you not know who the lead singer of The Who is? Do you like any music that's good? Any music? There is no music that you like that is acceptable to anyone else on the planet. Oh, Kenny. So there was some drama on the free Patreon podcast, and I want to get to the bottom of it now because I blocked the guy who was causing all of the mischief. And his name is Bob Odell. So I was tipped off to this, and I didn't actually see a bit of it because what I did was I banned the guy while I was doing the live podcast. So I wasn't able to see any of the nightmare. Yeah, I mean, you got just regular people sitting there enjoying the podcast, and occasionally they'll chime in with thoughts about what I'm talking about. Like right now, I got Nick, Megan, Kenny. Let's see who else is here. Jason was here, and they're all like making comments about various things that I'm talking about, which is normal. That is part of it. You know, that's half the fun, being part of the group. Well, apparently this guy comes in and just starts laying waste about, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how it went. I want to find out though. So, we're bringing.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, we're good.
So you don't know who Roger Daltrey is to start?
Man, I'm not good with names. Like, of course, I've heard of The Who, but I'm not into a whole lot of classic rock. But I really don't keep up with names.
Yeah.
It's hard for me.
What's the of all the groups that you like? Which is the one that most people like as well? Is there any of them? I mean, is there any one?
Well, yeah, dude, Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains, yeah, that would work. I mean, that's extremely popular.
Yeah.
That's like your all-time favorite, right?
It definitely was lame. Yeah, I don't really care for the newer stuff. I think they should have gotten a new guy and changed the name of the band because Lane Staley came up with the name.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You know, there are radio shows that that like the guy who created, like, there's a show called Kid Craddock, the Kid Craddock Show. Okay. And he died, and they still call it the Kid Craddock Show.
Oh, see, yeah, that's exactly the same thing. That is just dumb.
I know this one douchebag in Detroit who is he's a real piece of shit, and he used to he had this show called the Drew and Mike Show, and this cocksucker Mike died, and Mike was the only reason to listen to the show in the first place. And this
sounds familiar.
Yeah, and this piece of shit, goes ahead and he's doing a fucking podcast now, and he calls it Drew and Mike. And I know for a fact, because I talked to Mike up until his death on the phone, and he couldn't even stand Drew. He fucking hated that guy. So it's fucking terrible. I hate that shit.
Yeah, I don't care for that. But hey, when you've posted some of your insane asylums, and like you've played Helmet a few times, and that was surprising to me.
Oh yeah, I love that song, Unsung. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's more on that album that you should play.
Oh no, here we go.
No, man, no. Especially since that station is, like you said, known for playing the more obscure songs.
Yeah.
Like, for real, I will later offline give you a title of a song on that album, and you should check it out.
All right, I'll check it out. Cue in. Hey man, you got cue in.
Hey, did you see that video that I posted on the X United where I put cue in to about 145 or something and brace yourself?
No.
There's people on a boat, and they're all standing, and they hit a wave or something, and this dude just goes whoo poof,
I've seen that.
Over to the
man. I've seen that. That is I occasionally, if I happen to just come across that and see it, I love it every time. I've watched that video probably 80 million times, and you've seen it. Yeah, if you pause it at key spots, it's like hysterical. It's so funny.
I totally did that.
and then when the boat finally comes to an end, they're all like concussed, and they don't know what planet they're on.
Yeah. The one girl just wants to drive the boat. She's like, we gotta go. And then there's that one lady who's like, no, you gotta sit.
Yeah. Her glasses are all sideways and her tits are hanging out. It's just
well, I didn't see that part.
So can you take me through the drama of Bill O'Dell and on the free podcast?
Well, man, first of all, like Megan said, like, who is this guy? I've never seen this guy before, ever. He came in and he said, because of course you're talking about something with the COVID-19, and he put in this stupid thing. I see it all over the place. People put out of all of the population of the country, there's this 0.0000 whatever percent of death, and it's just ridiculous. Just people who trying to minimize how serious this is.
Yes.
And can't engage them. And he just said, where are you getting these numbers from? And then dude just went on the attack from there. And if you said something to him, he was calling you names, or it was nonstop.
Wow.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. I kind of just took your word for it and blocked him. So once I did that, all of the comments vanished.
Yeah, they did.
So that worked out. So he joins a rare number of people, including just a handful of people, to be banned from the Facebook page. So I guess good riddance, huh?
Well, yeah, I think so, because I mean, it was the first time that we've seen him, and at first, the first thing I said to him was, "This isn't the time or place." In the comments on the Facebook live feed, can you save this, whatever, and then he turned towards me and started, and then, it just kept going on and on and on. And then, I think there was a lady named Shelly or something that had mentioned something to him. And then he was like, what are you, liberal, Biden fan? It was just on and on and on. It's just not the time and place.
I believe. Well, good riddance. All right. Yeah. So now I want to read something to you.
Okay.
Hang on, I got to put on my glasses.
Did you wait? Are they your glasses? Did you get some yet? Or are they still?
No, these are Diana's, and I lost the other pair, so this is the backup pair.
Oh, no.
All right, now you're gonna have to put on your thinking cap.
Okay.
Which fledgling network aired its first music video titled "Video Killed the Radio Star" in 1981?
Yes. Dude, everybody knows that. That shouldn't be a trivia question in any game.
Well, yeah. Well, listen.
Who's gonna go? Oh, VH1.
Well, you guys are like you should have thrown it out, that question out. And if you don't know, that was from that's a spoiler alert on Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer trivia. That was a key question that was asked during the game.
It was the game deciding question.
Oh, so. Yes, you are right. That is an easy question, and the odds are everybody knows that question. I mean, it's even worded very easily. However, it is random that they happen to pop up, and in the event that someone got that wrong, can you imagine the beat up that they would have gotten if they had gotten? Yeah. I mean. So that's why I leave those easy ones in there. And besides, those two knuckleheads, there's a chance we could have gone on a 3-hour dry spell.
Oh, I know. With the question about the island in New York.
Oh my God, the island.
And then when Adam had the chance, it was it's named after the monument on the island, right. And he goes, Long Island.
Oh yeah, sure, the Long Island statue, the statue of Long Island. Fucking dumbass.
The statue of the long penis.
Jesus. And then the business about what continent is on 4 hemispheres. Now, most people understand the idea of north, south, east, west. And they go to extreme north and south.
Yeah.
It's like, you fucking idiots.
I was thinking Africa for that one, and I can't believe I was right. But then I saw Antarctica, my brain kind of locked up. I'm like, and then Dale.
Oh, and Dale goes North Pole.
The North Pole continent.
Oh, shit. All right.
Oh, it was funny.
All right. Well, that's it. I just wanted to run those things by you, bounce them off you a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You could actually, like you have those on cards though, right? The questions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could actually see that and go, that's way too damn easy.
Yeah,
all right,
I know. But the reason why I leave them in is, first of all, because I want to end the game in a timely fashion. Second of all, if they do happen to get it wrong, oh my God, that just results in some hilarity. So I'm taking a chance, and it's all luck of the draw. It just happened to pop up as a game deciding question.
Yeah, that's just when I go.
Yeah, I know. Everybody was all hurt. Everybody was yelling and screaming at me as usual.
They weren't. It was just me.
Yeah. Nick writes this. Hey, Kenny, tune into 1 minute 30 seconds into this podcast and see how crazy you sound. Apparently, you said something. So, all right.
Apparently, I talk like this, and I want everybody to die.
Yeah, hey man, yeah.
I'm glad this virus is killing everybody. No, I'm not. That's bad. I'm not.
All right, I'm gonna cut you loose.
All right, later.
Okay, see. Kenny, of course, very fun. Makes me laugh. Yeah, hey man, just got back from Spain. Yeah, me and my daughter, we were sitting there listening to the Zane show when he was swearing. All right. A couple of clips for you. First of all, this one is, I might be able to get on board with this Michael Jordan documentary, which I went on a rant about how much I hated Michael Jordan. I don't want to see a damn documentary about Michael Jordan. But this I could get behind because he's telling a story. Holy crap. This is somebody asked Michael Jordan. It was apparently in his rookie year in the NBA. So I'm guessing 82 maybe. A long time ago. And the guy doing the questioning says to Jordan, the team was known as the Bulls Traveling Cocaine Brigade because everybody was doing blow, like rail after rail. And he started laughing hysterically, and then he went off on a story, did Michael Jordan, a very young man at the time, probably 20, 21 years old, about the Bulls Traveling Cocaine Brigade or whatever it was.
Look.
Cocaine circus.
I never read that.
Accurate?
Look, guys were doing things that I didn't see. I had one event, preseason, I think we were in Peoria. It's in a hotel. So I'm trying to find my teammates. So I start knocking on doors. I get to this one door, and I knock on the door, and I can hear someone says, shh, someone's outside. And then you hear this deep voice says, who is it? I says, MJ. And then they all said, oh, fuck, he's just a rookie. Don't worry about it. So they open up the door. I walk in, and practically the whole team was in there. And it was like things I've never seen in my life, as a young kid. You got your lines over here. You got your weed smokers over here. You got your women over here. So the first thing I said, look, man, I'm out, because all I can think about is if they come and raid this place right about now, I am just as guilty as everybody else that's in this room. And from that point on, I was more or less on my own.
There you go. That right there, that bit of decision making, how terrific that was. I mean, as much as I was dogging him on the freebie, the guy did have the career of all careers, and turning around and walking away from that might have been the best decision he ever made. You remember the name Len Bias? Holy shit! I think the dude went to Maryland. Terrific college basketball player. Drafted top by the Boston Celtics back in the day. Like the night he got drafted, he hanging out with friends and they're celebrating and somebody busts out the cocaine. And Len Bias is like, I've never really done that before. I don't know if that's such a good idea. They go, no, it's great. It's seriously, you're going to be fine. What are you talking about, Len? Everybody's doing this. They chopped him out a big, thick rail. And they go, come on, Len, it's a toot fest. Let's go, man. Come on. You're with the Boston Celtics now. So Bias snorts it on up, and then his heart explodes in his chest, dead. Boom, right there. Holy crap. Incredibly terrible story. I've only seen it. I've only seen cocaine being snorted once, and I'll never forget it. I was like MJ. I walked into that party. It was the party that I told you about when I went to, when I took that crazy bitch out for prom, and all she wanted to do was be surrounded by BBC. And after the prom, she took me to a party with dudes that I didn't know from another school, like one of the Detroit public schools. And she's one of these kids who didn't even hang out with any of the dudes at our school because none of them were black. She wasn't into Italians and Polacks. She was into BBC. So I go into this room, and it looks like a scene from the movie Coming to America where they all have the Eric LaSalle Jerry curls. I'm like, what the fuck? Who am I? And I look like, a refugee from Iran wearing a fucking tuxedo. And there's this chick, and she's like, all right, Sid, thanks for the ride. I'm going to go get some black dick. I'm like, what? And then I leave. I turn around. There's this chick, Amy, who happened to be from my high school as well. Also there. She was into BBC. And she's got all these rails, and she's snorting cocaine. I'm like, what the fuck, Amy, are you doing? I barely knew her. And I go, holy shit, this is crazy. And I was just watching the cocaine disappear up the straw and into her brain. I'm like, wow, I was kind of like when one of those ASMR videos when it's just, you just watch something disappear like that. I was like, whoa, huge rail. Brian writes, a couple of my college roommates started doing it senior year. So me and my other roommate We spoke with them so we would not stand for it happening in the apartment. They wound up stopping shortly thereafter. Oh, I was hoping you were going to say that you got hooked on blow or something like that. That's a hell of a lot less interesting. Aaron says, is this the girl whose purse you threw out on the highway? Hell yeah, it is. 696 in Detroit. I'll never forget that crazy bitch. She went on to become a lesbian. So she was into BBC, and now she's into BBV because she's got a wife now, that crazy bitch. And yeah, I was like, Tracy, yeah, I'm out of here. I think I'm going to leave. I jumped into my rented 1988 Lincoln Continental or Lincoln Town car that my dad rented for me for the night. And jumped in my car. I look, and there's her purse, no doubt full of Magnum rubbers and fucking Plan B prescription and maybe some birth control. And I was hoping and praying it was some diabetes medication so she wouldn't get it. And sure enough, I rolled down the window. I chucked the fucking thing out the door, out the window. Goes bouncing along the interstate. Fuck you. Drove home. Totally thought I was going to at least get an HJ out of the deal. I had to wait. Damn it. I had an interesting discussion with my mother. God. I think her filter might be going a little bit. I picked her up from the hospital to bring her home. I met her at the door like I was telling you about the other day. I forgot to tell you the story. Probably better that I not tell it on the free one. This one is a little bit more insulated. I would not tell the story about my mother on the free podcast. But I always like to engage her in conversation about things in the past, just to kind of like keep her mind moving. And so I was having a kind of, usually it's stuff about like ancestry and genealogy, because my mother's grandmother, which would be my great-grandmother, actually died in the Spanish flu pandemic. And we got on that topic, and I got to discussing my two oldest brothers, Michael and Paul. Michael and Paul, we share a mother. My mom is their mom. Their dad is not my dad. I got into a discussion about this guy that was my mom's very first husband when she was in her maybe mid-20s. And it was an awful scenario. My mom had Mike, and then while she was pregnant with Paul, the guy went out for milk and never came back. One of those deals. You hear about that story? Stories like that. And then he mailed her the divorce papers. That was very traumatic for my mother. And so for some reason we got onto that subject. And my mom, she goes, I go, yeah, boy, Mom, that was rough. And she goes, I know it. And you know what? I was a virgin for him. Oh. And I'm like, well, you know what? Every time I turn around, there's another family member of mine that is making me so fucking uncomfortable, whether it be my daughter or in this case, my mother. And I'm like, I really didn't need to know about your virginity, Mom. That's holy shit. Dr. Anthony Fauci is making the rounds again. And I know this is, for most of you, this is preaching to the choir, but I kind of like what he has to say here. First of all, there's been a little bit of a discussion about this testing for antibodies. You've been seeing there's all these studies, people that have gotten antibody tests showing that the infection is 50 to 80 times worse, more people infected than what we originally thought. Hold the phone. Those antibody tests are suspect. They don't know how accurate they are. So that may or may not be true. And I like the dumb fucks who are like, you see, this isn't that deadly. While you're right in the idea that a smaller percentage of people will die, okay? Yes, that is true. So basically, if you have the numbers we have now, and it shows, let's say, 4% of the people die. But then you find out after the fact that, 50 times the amount were sick, that lowers the percentage of death. Just, changes it's a different variable, lowers the percentage. Great. That's not good news. You're still dealing with, as of right now, 42,000 dead people in the United States in less than 2 months. So let's just take 42,000. Let's actually say that that's over 2 months. And multiply that times 6, which is 12 months. That's still 252,000 people dead that were alive prior to this. So shut the fuck up.
Antibody test is not saying whether you have the virus now. It's saying whether you were exposed, infected, and likely recovered from the infection. The problem is that these are tests that need to be validated and calibrated. And many of the tests out there don't do that. Point number one. Point number two, that's important, is that we do not know exactly what an antibody titer means. I mean, there's an assumption that when you have an antibody that you are protected against reinfection. But that has not been proven for this particular virus.
Yes. So the other danger in that is you think, oh, well, I had it and didn't even know it. I got the antibodies. I can do what I want. No, man, come on, social distancing be damned. Not true. First of all, the test could be wrong. Second of all, you hear about stories about reinfection. So they don't know. So settle down. And then there's this. I talked to you about this, how the threat of the economy can be just ruined even longer without staying at home. So people are like, wow, the economy's going to die, man, if we don't get to work. It's like, if you go to work too early, dummy, it's going to be an even longer recovery.
I think, the message is that clearly this is something that is hurting from the standpoint of economics, from the standpoint of things that have nothing to do with the virus. But unless we get the virus under control, the real recovery economically is not going to happen. So what you do, if you jump the gun and go into a situation where you have a big spike, you're going to set yourself back. So as painful as it is to go by the careful guidelines of gradually phasing into a reopening, it's going to backfire. That's the problem.
And that could mean a longer economic recovery. So just relax, especially where we're at right now. I mean, where I am in Michigan, you can't do anything till April 30 anyway. So at least just let that proliferate. We'll see how it goes. Michigan, I am understanding is really, really doing much, much better these days. So that is excellent. However, as they get a handle on it in the Detroit area, it's starting to bloom right where we live. We got it. It took longer for it to get over to here than it did there. So I think this is something we live with. I think that I will say this, I think we can only go so far of keeping the economy shut down. And then it's like, it has to be reopened. Honestly, I think that I would be shocked if by early to mid-May, if it's not back full bore, the economy, I think they need to look at what we have for sickness and recovery at that point, and then just say, we're just going to have to get back after it slowly and then social distance and then just wait it out and hope to God they get a vaccine, because seriously, we can't keep the economy down forever. The time that we've bought by social distancing now, especially in Michigan, and the lockdown has been great. And it has allowed, the thing I was most concerned about was the hospitals being overrun. And then that would mean so much more heartache to people that needed ventilators, things like that. And then ultimately deciding whether or not people live or die. So, and that's all I'm concerned with, is flattening out the curve and then dealing with it as it comes. And I think that unless I was telling my wife this, unless there's a vaccine, you guys aren't going to hockey games. I'm not giving you my tickets. I don't want you anywhere near it. Stay away until this all gets sorted out. All right. You ever click on a video to watch and there's a commercial at the start of it? I saw one that I swear to God, I thought it was a spoof. And I got to link it up on the comments of this podcast. It is a device. It's a piece of rubber, and they call it Jawzrsize, Jawzr size. And it's about, I don't know, it's hard to describe the size of it. Just enough to fit in your mouth. It's like a very thick rubber donut, okay? And you put it in your mouth and you bite it. And it provides 40 pounds of resistance. And what it does is it strengthens your jaw. And the fucking ad has a guy saying it will revolutionize your body. Your face will go backwards in time, and you will look younger. Take a look at me, and it shows a before and an after picture of this fucker, and he looks identical. There is no change whatsoever. I didn't see one, and I'm like, who the fuck is going to fall for this? And okay, yes. If you do this exercise, you will get a stronger jawbone, and you might see some articulations, I guess. I didn't see it in the picture, though, but you won't believe how ridiculous you look. It's like taking a rubber ball, put it in your mouth, and that's what they make you do, is you're sitting there exercising your jaw, and they're going, you can do it while you're bench pressing. Or it's guy going, while he's doing bench pressing. Have you seen this thing? You must check this out. I will provide a link to the Jawzrsize just so you can see how stupid this thing looks. If it meant that it was gonna take years off my life and make me look younger, I wouldn't do it, because I would be doing it. You look so damn dumb. I would feel so stupid chewing on this. My God, there are better ways to work your jaw. There's got to be, right? I don't know. I'll let you use your own imagination. I don't have the nerve to say it to your faces right now as you listen in. All right, I'm out of time, folks. I appreciate you being with me. If I happen to be approached by Jawzrsize, I'll have to turn them down now. Sorry, I can't have you being on my show. I cannot endorse your product. Okay. Oh wait. I just reminded myself. I didn't need you to help me this time. We need 10 players for Fear Bunker Trivia. Now, I'll bet you I have just over 10 left. And then we're going to start over. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 17 left who have not played. I'm going to draw 10 names out right now. Let's do this. Okay. These are them. Hello, Brandon. Brandon, you're in. Pete Schuer. Or Skewer. He's been on Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer. Kevin in Muskegon. Oh, yes. I know he's watching this live video podcast right now. Kyle Weir. That's 5 of you. No, wait a minute. That's 4 of you. 5 is Kevin Corbat. 6 is Brian Callahan. I know he's watching. I just saw his name pop up. 7, Greg Roush. Greg's pretty new to Patreon. 8, Jason Mays, Amsoil. 9, Benjamin West. And 10 is right here. 10 is Jason Terry and his epic beard. Wait till you see his freaking beard. Oh, one of the best I've seen. All right. So there you go. Rob says he's definitely not getting picked. Let me make sure you're in here. Can you imagine if all of this time you weren't? Lee is in the bag, but I'm not. These aren't names that are on it. Aaron, Will, Lori, James, Linda, Stefan. Rob, did you send me an email? I hope you did. I'll add you in for the next one then. If that's what I didn't even know you were in. Did you maybe I missed your email? Perhaps. Well, either way. If I have missed any of your names, will you do me a favor and then let me know if you want to play. If your name has not been mentioned and it wasn't in this bag right now, send me an email for Fear Bunker Trivia so that I can get it in here. That way you play. Everybody plays. One way or another, everybody plays. So let me add Rob now so I don't forget. Rob, Gressei. All right, now you're in. You are officially in the drawing. So send me an email, eric@ericzaneshow.com, if you want to be in the drawing and your name hasn't been called yet for Fear Bunker Trivia Challenge. Okay? Good. That's it. Nothing more. All done. Thanks, folks. I appreciate you being part of the podcast. I'll talk to you down the road.